6 million pages. That's how many documents the US Department of Justice identified in the Jeffrey Epstein case. They released 3.5 million, then they said they were done. 2.5 million pages are still hidden. And the ones they did release, they've already triggered 20 resignations, 2 arrests, and a congressional subpoena. This is every number in the Epstein files. Jeffrey Epstein was a financier, a convicted sex offender, and according to prosecutors, one of the most prolific sexual predators in American history. When he died in his jail cell in August 2019, his will listed a net worth of $577 million. But nobody could explain how he made it. He had no trading operation, no public fund, and barely any known clients. So where did $577 million actually come from? Most of it came from just 2 people. Les Wexner, the billionaire behind Victoria's Secret, paid Epstein roughly $200 million in fees over several decades, and Leon Black, the founder of Apollo Global Management, paid him $158 million between 2012 and 2017 alone, mostly for tax advice that saved Black up to $2 billion. Nobody else on Wall Street operates like this. One client, $158 million, no oversight. In 2005, Palm Beach police identified 36 girls, aged 14 to 17, who described being recruited to Epstein's mansion. Federal prosecutors prepared a full indictment. But then Epstein's lawyers, including Alan Dershowitz and Ken Starr, negotiated a deal with U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta. The result was what a federal judge later called a national disgrace. Epstein pleaded guilty to 2 state charges of soliciting prostitution, not trafficking, not assault. Prostitution, as if the 14-year-olds were the ones selling something. He was sentenced to 18 months. He served 13, and after 3.5 months, he got work release. Out of jail, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. He left every morning and came back every night. But the worst part wasn't the sentence. It was the non-prosecution agreement. That deal gave immunity from all federal charges, not just to Epstein, but to any unnamed co-conspirators. The victims were never told. For 15 years, victims and journalists fought to get these documents released. In November 2025, Congress finally passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Trump signed it the next day. The first release came on December 19th. It was heavily redacted. 550 pages were completely blacked out, including a 255-page consecutive series and a 119-page grand jury transcript. And the redactions were so badly done that you could copy and paste the blacked-out text to read what was underneath. Then, on January 30th, came the big one. 3.5 million pages, 180,000 images, 2,000 videos. The DOJ said this was it, the final release. But it wasn't complete. 2.5 million pages are still withheld. 200,000 are hidden under privilege claims. And an NPR investigation found that dozens of pages had been quietly removed, including files related to allegations against President Trump. On March 5th, under pressure from Congress, the DOJ finally released those missing pages. So who appears in the files? The flight logs for Epstein's private jet, the Boeing 727, known as the Lolita Express, document over 3,000 flights between 1997 and 2019. Bill Clinton appears 63 times. Donald Trump appears at least 7 times. Prince Andrew, Naomi Campbell, Kevin Spacey, and Alan Dershowitz are all in the logs. But here's the important caveat. Being in a flight log does not mean you committed a crime. The manifests are handwritten, full of initials and first names. What matters is the pattern, and what the files around those names reveal. What we do know is the scale. Over 200 victims have come forward. Lawyers for those victims asked a federal judge to shut down the DOJ's own website after thousands of redaction failures exposed the identities of around 100 survivors, names and photos that were supposed to be protected, published to the world. Meanwhile, in 20 years, exactly one person has been convicted, Ghislaine Maxwell, 5 counts, 20 years in prison, nobody else. When the files dropped, the fallout was immediate. Within weeks, more than 20 high-profile figures resigned from their positions: the head of the World Economic Forum, Goldman Sachs' top lawyer, a Harvard president, a Nobel laureate, the chairman of DP World. Even Elon Musk's brother stepped down from the Burning Man board after his name appeared over 300 times in the files. In the UK, Peter Mandelson resigned from the Labour Party and was later arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Prince Andrew was arrested the same week, detained for 11 hours and released under investigation. But arrested is not charged, and charged is not convicted. As of today, no new criminal charges have been filed against anyone named in the files. The banks, though, they've already paid. JP Morgan settled with victims for $290 million. Deutsche Bank paid $75 million. A separate victims fund distributed $121 million to around 150 survivors. That's $486 million in settlements, and still just one conviction. 2.5 million pages remain unreleased. The DOJ says they've complied with the law. Congress disagrees. The House Oversight Committee voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi on March 4th. 37 pages are still missing from the public database, according to NPR. The Little St. James Island logbook has never been released. The boat trip logs have never been released. And 200,000 pages sit behind privilege claims that no court has reviewed. 6 million pages of evidence, 20 years of investigations, hundreds of victims, and the question everyone is asking is the same one they've been asking for decades. $577 million, 3,000 flights, 200 victims, 20 resignations, 2 arrests, 1 conviction. Who is the system actually protecting?